You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Black Box After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Black Box After Show.
All right, welcome to the After Show for ABC's Black Box Episode 6, Forget Me. I'm Mindy Thomas. Thanks for being here tonight. And I would love for my lovely co-host to introduce herself, please.
Hello, Black Boxers. It's Teresa. Thanks for joining us tonight.
We've got a great show ahead, but first, let me encourage you to go out and buy this book. Maria Menounos, the CEO of AfterBuzz TV, has come out with the Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, and I want to get mine autographed actually because
Me too.
Yeah, she's definitely got an amazing story of losing 40 pounds. She's in incredible shape, a total inspiration. So I can't wait to look at these recipes a little closer, and of course, hear her advice. So I can't wait to get this.
And one thing to note, it's not just for girls. Anyone that's looking for fitness and diet tips, check it out.
Exactly. Well, we also would like to throw it to Teresa because I want to just first get your feeling of Black Box tonight.
Tonight, you know what? We learn a lot about the characters' past in tonight's episodes and how it affects their present lives. We're seeing the layers of the onion peeled back, and we're learning more about Will, Catherine, and her relationship with her brother, Josh. The Patient of the Week stories were really fascinating, per usual. It's bringing awareness to really uncommon diseases that, I definitely don't know about, so I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool. And I want to first also encourage people to go to iTunes, where you can, of course, listen to our show, rate, review, and subscribe, and connect with us. We'll give you our Twitter addresses here at the end of the show. So stick around for that.
Give us 5 stars.
Yeah,
we love them.
5 stars is,
Five
5-star
stars.
restaurant, 5-star show. It all goes together.
Also, shout out to our co-host, Jade, who couldn't be here tonight. She's not feeling well, so.
Yes, Jade, our heart is
Feel
with
better?
you, and you better get to watch that show. I know you did. I know you did, girlfriend. We're going to hear your thoughts next week. Okay, so hopping right into the overall night tonight was all about daddy.
Yes, daddy issues.
Yes, because the show opened with Kelly Riley's character, Dr. Black, who is a neuroscientist, just if you're just now watching the show, and she suffers with a mental illness secretly, because if they find out at the Cube, she's going to be nixed from her amazing, amazing career. So she's in the cab, and she is listening to this song, and it's sort of taking her back to a very intense time as a young girl. And the song is by the great jazz pianist in Black Box, Hunter Black, and the song was After You're Gone. And that just goes into the overall theme. There's some lyrics there that say, your heart will break like mine. And it's her daddy's song, actually, on the radio. And so he was this musician back in the day when she was growing up.
Right, really famous in Europe because jazz is big there.
Exactly. And Catherine asked the cab driver if he would please turn off the song. It just became too much. And so this was sort of weaved throughout the night as one of the themes in the tapestry about where was daddy. And I really was quite emotional because during her childhood, just after her mother had committed suicide, and the brokenness there of that and the intensity of that, and then also they're trying to come up with the solution of where is she and her brother going to be. And the dad says, look, I got to make a living. And what was fascinating to me about that storyline is the way that the brother Joshua is going to remember his childhood, and the way that Dr. Catherine Black Joshua calls her
Right.
Kate, remembers her childhood. So,
They have two completely different interpretations.
which creates a lot of conflict in their relationship.
Right. And Catherine remembers him at the funeral, just, being overwhelmed with the circumstances and just unable to face the reality of the situation. The mother's gone and he has two little kids that he's supposed to raise on his own. He needs to get back on the road because he wants to make sure that the kids have enough money to survive. And, we see him jump in the car just right at the funeral, leaving, Catherine and Josh alone with Aunt Sissy. And that's how Catherine sees it.
Right. And then later on in the show, then Joshua's memory remembers that Daddy was trying to work out some of the bills, and the Aunt Sissy was encouraging him, well, you need to make a clean break. And
Right.
so that was part of his motivation for leaving. And would this make a difference for her now after all this time? Because Catherine had alluded that, or said that he hasn't been around for the last 10 years. And even before that, it was holidays, maybe Christmas here.
But it had been a good 10 years, and he recently wanted to get in touch because of Esme. And so he wrote this really moving letter to Josh, which was what triggered, the reunion and so forth.
Right, exactly. And so that's the thing. Daddy comes back in the picture. When she sees him for the first time, it's at the Cube, okay? And that's pretty crazy. She's got her life. He's not really a part of it. He's coming into her present, and she's sort of sorting this out a little bit later on with Will.
Right.
Because he's asking her more questions, and she's shooting it straight. I mean, I was pretty impressed because she's had some problems with emotional dishonesty, and yet she's pretty forthcoming with, hey, this is he hasn't been around, and now he's showing back up. He wasn't a part of my past. Now he wants to be a part of my future.
She said something that really resonated with me. She said, I'm really angry for that little girl. So she's held that resentment since that day he left them at the funeral, their mother's funeral, and she's held on to that anger.
She was extremely hurt, and a wounding like that of a parent committing suicide is just, off the charts devastating, I imagine. And so she's trying to work through some of this with her psychiatrist,
Right.
who is played by Vanessa Redgrave. And it was so good to see her back in the show tonight and making these powerful statements or questions, even like, well, what are you going to do about your anger? Which anger could be like fear. It can be different things manifesting, right? And so she's kind of helping her address her feelings and say, okay, well, how are you going to deal with it now that you're an adult? Sort of, what is the adult going to speak to the child in a way?
And Catherine says, every time I think about him, I feel pain. And so Vanessa Redgrave's character says, if you feel pain, then maybe it's better to leave the past behind and live forward. And so that makes Catherine think about what she should do, because you can tell that she's conflicted. Her brother wants her to, just embrace it and understand that the father did it for a very good reason, but she's not able to get to that point yet. And so, as you mentioned, Vanessa Redgrave's character says, well, you need to figure it out, because if you aren't able to forgive him, what are you going to do with that anger? Which is a great question.
That is an excellent question, and it remains to be seen, because it seems like she just, is still operating out of so much hurt, because we really found out that what happened was she was orphaned as a young person, her mother committing suicide, and then her daddy leaving. And there was
That's
an
awful, by the way.
and my thought is this: there was an abandonment of some kind, because he was chiming in, chiming out. It wasn't like there was a consistent relationship, like he wrote her letters every week, this sort of thing. So at some point, she's going to have to come to that reality of sort of being orphaned. And at least the aunt, there was some sort of blood relative that really wanted to step up. She wanted the children to stay in this sort of comfortable surroundings and not just uproot them into some chaotic musician's lifestyle.
Sure.
So
and that's what the mother wanted as well. But, I feel for Catherine, I don't think I'd be able to forgive him right away. Yes, he had to do what he did because they needed to survive, but I think he could have handled it better. He didn't have to have such a long break. He could have made an effort to come and reconcile that relationship.
And certainly being a musician is a noble way to earn a living. However, he was showing that they had some serious bills to pay. A lot of the money and finances had gone to medical expenses throughout the mother's illness. Yeah.
And also Catherine's education growing up, he contributed to that too.
Oh, okay. So he did. He helped provide
Right.
for her education.
That was one of Josh's points
Oh.
in getting her to see his point of view.
Okay, so he was, but still throwing money at something is not actually
Right.
being.
Doesn't substitute for actually being a father figure
Right.
and being there for her.
But he was trying to be there on some level. So and I can see the little boy and Josh, if you will, in this
Yeah.
character coming out, because he's still wanting sort of this big happy family feeling, and that's kind of interesting, showing how different siblings will deal with the same trauma in different ways, and will have a different outcome as a result.
I feel like that really bonds her and her brother together too, going through that experience together. You can see just how close they are now, and how, one of her most important relationships in the show is with her brother.
Right. They do play that very well. There does seem to be a real bonding that's expressed there. And, when she is a small girl, she cries out, "Daddy!" She doesn't want him to leave. She's desperate for him. She's wanting to attach to him because she doesn't have mommy anymore. And so, there was a lot of reflection when Dr. Catherine Black's character, Kate, and Joshua, they get together at the dinner table. Reagan prepares a meal. Will comes over, and they're all kind of doing the shindig and sort of, talking about meeting the father. And that was before he had showed up. But then she's conflicted because she doesn't know if she wants to go to the concert. She's been invited to sort of a solo concert that's coming up that Friday, and Esme was the one that asked.
Right. Esme doesn't know the whole backstory. I don't believe all the details. So she's eager to meet her grandfather and start a relationship with him, understandably. But I don't think she quite understands where Catherine's coming from.
Right. And what was it about Esme, just really quickly, where she leaves with her friend later on? Where were they headed? Do you recall? It was like they were, anyway, it's kind of indicating that she's sort of maybe still wanting to get into some trouble. Like, that's sort of how she's dealing with her stuff. Even though she played a beautiful piano song at the dinner, they were having a dinner with Reagan, and then she played some tunes on the piano. And so they're trying to kind of create
She's got
these
a
family moments.
rebellious streak to her, possibly.
Exactly.
I mean, we saw that last week with her being caught smoking weed with that cute boy from school. So, I mean, we may see more of that manifest later on in the season.
Right, and she's got this amazing gifting, playing the piano, and then of course, Esme Black is played by Siobhan Williams, and I love her name. I mean, that's like one of the coolest names ever. So, okay. So through
one thing I actually, sorry to interrupt, one thing I would love to hear from the fans is, where do they side? Do they see it from Catherine's point of view, or did they relate more to Josh's point of view? So tweet at us and let us know what you think, or leave a comment in YouTube or in iTunes.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't have our Twitter addresses, then after the news and the predictions, we will give you our Twitter addresses so you can stay connected, and then we can hopefully read your comments. You can tweet us even during the show when you're watching.
Yep.
So that's some fun stuff there, and I'm going to tell you later on the show also what I have in common with Kelly Riley.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear.
I'm very excited about that. So she is an amazing actress. I loved watching her tonight, and then also when she is working with this patient, Captain Moran.
Yes.
She is trying to discover, of course, post-traumatic stress disorder is the first place that the soldier knows that they're going to try and explore that. And he had thrown it to the walls at one point. But she's really trying to create a comfort level. And he went through some pretty, horrific.
He lost his arm trying to save his friend from a burning tent, and you got a Purple Heart for that. but as a result, he is feeling phantom limb pain in his right arm.
Yes, he had also saved 5 other buddies. Right. So he definitely earned the Purple Heart, so to speak.
And it's really heartbreaking, the scene with him, coming to Catherine for the first time, and he's crying. He's saying, this is really affecting his marriage. He isn't able to sleep through the night, and I really felt for him. I just thought about, other victims, that fought for a country having to go through situations like that.
Yeah, that his wife didn't sign up for this, that this is not the kind of man that she wanted to be married to, with someone that was suffering, because he was in such intense pain. It was almost like in that one place of where he lost his limb, it was like all of the trauma or devastation was going into that focal point. So then when they did discover a way, Dr. Catherine Black later found that way to put his arm inside of a box with a mirror on it, and then reflected this image, so it tricked his brain to make him think he's got another limb. And so then the ghost pains began to go away, and she said the pain will eventually start leaving more and more the more you do this.
I love that. That was a really cool way to combat that problem.
And lo and behold, the knight in shining armor, of course, shows up a little bit later
Bickman.
with
with his fancy solution.
Yeah, because he thought it was ancient, basically having the mirror and the box technique, and it definitely stimulated some healing effects. But what he came up with was some more advanced technology.
It's virtual reality goggles.
Yeah. And so I was thinking, oh no, is he going to punch Dr. Bickman? He's going to feel so much like amazing strength in his mind or something.
That would have been funny.
But yeah, he totally was trying to show up for Dr. Catherine Black, and she's like, well, I'm glad that I shamed you into this.
Yeah.
She's like proud of herself.
Well, that was also when she learned what he did for Leo. We'll get into that later too. So he's trying to, toot his horn and get her attention.
Right.
And it's fun to watch.
Right. And with the ghost pains, this is a very real thing that can happen with the soldier that did lose his limb. And then the way that the brain deals with things is just so fascinating. There's going to be different coping mechanisms that can come up, and different things have to be explored. And that soldier was not real open. I mean, he was throwing some walls up when there was sort of the one-on-one going on in terms of exploring more like what's
alternative ways to
because it was great that he was eliminating the pains in that way, but then there was also some other resolution that they felt needed to take place. So there was sort of a boardroom analysis that was going on with Dr. Bickman, Dr. Black, and one of the other doctors, and she was, so they're throwing out. I love to watch them work together like that, because they're all coming up with these different things. Okay, tried that, got that, and yet they know that the next thing could be the thing that could help him more long term.
What I love is how Bickman and Catherine complement each other so well. We saw in this episode Catherine come up with the solution with the wood apparatus, and then Bickman coming into it and adding on to it and bringing it to a whole other level. We've seen it before with the two of them, and it just really proves that they are very similar to each other, and they play off each other well. They have that intense chemistry in the workplace and outside of the workplace, as we've seen. So I love watching that.
Well, and they definitely had the elevator moment.
Yes. Which was very hot.
He had to put a stop to that old elevator, loving in an elevator or something.
What a confident man, huh?
Well, and he just was like, hey, he didn't care that she had a fiance because he's a cook. He kind of put he kind of put him down.
Dating a cook.
Yeah. So he totally had to share his inner feelings with her, because the silence was sort of deafening to him.
Yeah, he gets into the elevator with her, pulls the stop button, and they have this time alone. And he says, I think about our moment every day. And he's referencing to the time when they actually had sex. And he's like, I know you feel it too. Why why deny it, basically. And she says she just refuses him, and she moves on quickly from
Well,
that.
I was amazed because, like you had said last week in your prediction, you wanted to see a more vulnerable moment. Did you feel that that was more vulnerable of him to really
he was
express
actually very
his-
vulnerable this episode. His reaction when she puts him down, and how he I feel like she said that I shamed you into this, but he was actually getting points too, because we see this softer side of him. He really goes out of his way to make things right with Leo, and he goes all out with Captain Moran with the device that he created. So I feel like a lot of that is to help the patients, but part of that is also to please Catherine.
Right, and also just going back to Captain Moran, I have to dive into this again because of the repressed memories. I felt there was some parallels between like Dr. Catherine Black and her repressed memories, and then also the soldier.
Yes.
And so she's trying to sort of show up for the patient, but at the same time she's being triggered by her own repressed memories with Daddy coming back into the picture, and she looked at the soldier and she said, "You have to interrupt the, pain pathways to the brain." And so she's saying strong things that are in direct conjunction with what she's
dealing with, which I think was a great device that the show put together.
Yeah, that was really beautifully told. And again, he protests. He does not want to be labeled with the PTSD. And so, yeah, so that was just a really interesting, because the truth is, the Dr. Catherine Black has some war wounds from life.
Mm-hmm.
And,
she does.
Yeah.
And she has a lot of secrets that she's kept from the workplace. And so she's dealing with very, very strong emotions right now. So it's a lot on her right now.
And the psychiatrist says we delved into it endlessly, bringing up this child that had been molested. And so she said that's how we used to deal with these sort of things. And I was quite shocked, like you said, when she said, okay, are you going to put the past in the past? That's not a typical thing that you're going to think that a psychiatrist is actually going to say. And in essence, she was saying, the brain can do things to sort of protect itself from too much. Mm-hmm. And so maybe there is a time where you just like let sleeping dogs lie, if you will.
Sure.
Yeah. So that was kind of reeling it in.
She threw the question out there. So, I think we're going to find out in the episodes to come, how Catherine's going to go about it.
Yeah. I like the locker room chat. Like, let's move forward. That was pretty good. But what if my memories are false, says Dr. Catherine Black. That was really the thing. Was like, okay, she's remembering things, and what if she is not remembering them the right way? Mm-hmm. And then the psychiatrist says, well, your pain was still real. Well,
right.
So her pain is real. Again, like the soldier's pain was very real, and it's difficult to measure that.
Right. So maybe it is about you leaving it behind because the pain is real, and that's the one thing you can rely on because memory isn't so crystal clear.
Ah, very good, very good. Okay, so I think that moving on, we've got to talk about Leo because Leo had brain surgery, and
not too long ago. It was just, was it 3 weeks
just
ago?
within days, because
okay.
they're saying I think it was the 8th day of recovery from his brain surgery, and he's the intern at the Cube, and he was the one that had this impeccable, like, just could remember all these crazy
memory.
Crazy details about like what he was eating when he was a child, when he was watching TV or something, and so it all just kind of interconnected. But what's happened right now is that he just really doesn't have a memory that he can rely on. So it's really getting him down because that was one of his strengths. He really pulled that out and kind of liked to shine with that certain quality.
And he's getting a lot of pressure from his parents who want him to excel. And, he feels this pressure to be that, person for his parents. So there's a lot on his mind.
And then the intern that is also his friend is showing some...
Allie.
Yeah, she's showing some concern there, saying, okay, well... she knows that he's worried about not being able to remember. And anyway, Dr. Bickman is overseeing his progress, and Leo gets upset. He's like, what is this, a spot quiz? And he doesn't like the fact that Dr. Bickman is just calling it like he sees it as usual.
Right. He says that Leo needs a baseline memory test, and he write something down, and Leo asked him, what are you writing down? And he said, I wrote argumentative. So it stresses Leo out. And
I
Bickman-
totally had to do that memory test too. I was doing
Oh
it wrong.
yeah. What about you black boxers? Did you guys take the memory test, and
Yeah.
how well did you do?
Yeah, exactly. If you're normal, that I was actually normal. That surprised me.
Yeah.
He said if you remember 5 out of the 10, I believe, then you're normal.
You're normal. So tell us how many you remembered. So, Bickman and Leo, they're having this conversation, and Bickman's just really just laying it on hard. It's sort of insensitive to Leo, He's just had this brain surgery, and he's in this fragile condition, and Bickman's his hero, basically. And, I just don't think that he should have handled it that way.
Well, Dr. Catherine Black, she totally chimes in and says, and stands up for Leo. She says, basically, what are you doing here? She says, if you fix his head and break his heart, you're a lousy man.
Yeah, and I think that really resonated with Bickman.
I'm like, I am so taking that line with me throughout my life.
She says, you need to show emotion, kindness, decency. And, he didn't do all of that. And Bickman seems to get, turned on when she calls him out and just, lays it on him. So
he totally loves that
he
confrontation.
does. He likes being put in his place.
Yeah, and she knows who she's dealing with now because he has totally opened his heart up and said, okay,
Yeah.
I'm wanting to get this show on the road.
She's put it all out there.
And you need to get rid of your fiance is basically
Get rid of the cook.
Yeah. Well, there was another case study as well that they were talking about, Beatrice. And were you into this tonight? Did you find that interesting?
Yeah,
How they
very
were
cool.
depicting what you like to see what they do inside of someone's mind and what they're actually thinking.
And we got to see her visual hallucinations, which were movie quality and very picturesque.
Yeah, and the nurse is like, I want to
nurse is
see
jealous.
that. So we weren't sure where this was going, and I certainly was surprised by where it ended, that's for sure.
Right. So it turns out, well, originally they thought it was macular degeneration, so she's losing some of her vision, and it turns out that she has something called the Charles-Bonnet syndrome, and that happens when your vision is deteriorating, and so your mind kind of misses imagery, and as a result overcompensates and creates these visual hallucinations.
Isn't that amazing?
Fascinating.
I have never heard of that.
Never knew that
So that was a really fun case to learn about. And then also it was quite relief. I had a lot of relief, if you will, because, there was nothing actually wrong with her because it seems like so many of the people that they analyze and they diagnose have to go in for something really serious. So,
And Catherine called it a gift, which was surprising to me. I thought there was some kind of resolution, but
yeah, I thought when you're seeing the snow leopard, I don't know, that would be like.
I guess the key is that they know that they're, hallucinating, and they know what's real and what's not. So that makes it an okay situation.
Okay, so Teresa, if you could use your imagery, what would you create in your mind right now?
Oh my gosh.
Anything in
I
particular?
see a beach in Mexico with a cocktail in my hand.
Oh my goodness. A lot of people like the beach. Any particular beach?
I really like Playa del Carmen in Mexico.
Oh, okay.
Any of those beaches.
All right,
out
that
there.
sounds good. I'm going to have to check that out, at least on the internet. Okay, so the bartender with Will. I want to touch on this because his daddy issues also kind of came out. So their daddy issues, neck to neck, and the bartender's saying, kids are too hard on their parents. Did you like the way I threw in that accent a little
like
bit,
that.
kind of a southern thing? And so, anyway, he remembers how Will's dad was a good man. And he's like, yeah, but you don't remember how he'd just come home and beat me after drinking so much.
Right. And as you guys may or may not recall, Will's dad was an alcoholic.
So, yeah, that's some serious stuff. I mean, we're talking AA 101 right here. But that he did give some thanks. I guess that it was at a Thanksgiving, sort of some kind of dinner gathering. And so he
would leave the turkey for the bartender's family every Christmas because they didn't have the means to have, a full dinner. And so I think one year the bartender realized it was Will's father. And so bartender is telling Will, like, hey, don't be so hard on your parents, like you said. He really did mean well.
And Will had this, that look like, oh, maybe my daddy was, a good guy. And, just kind of that, it made him feel good to hear a good story about his dad.
Right.
So I like that they threw that in there. It was quite unique, especially since so much was going on with her daddy. So,
yeah.
Did they have too many daddy issues?
Lots of daddy issues this episode.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to interfere in their relationship? Is that kind of why they're pointing them to this tonight?
Absolutely.
Okay, because it's kind of stacking up. And then also Will is dealing with Delilah. He was meeting.
Yes. Was it his manager that
someone sort of over him in the restaurant business,
right.
Saying, yeah, I heard that you guys shacked up, basically. And
Will asked, who did you hear that from? And it turns out he heard it from Delilah. So she is doing what we predicted. She's stirring up trouble. She went directly to the manager and told them that they had sexual relations, which is obviously something she shouldn't do.
Yeah, she's totally manipulating the entire situation.
Right.
And it is getting very poisonous very quickly.
And Will says, I'm going to let her go. She's too much. And the guy says, well, you can't now because that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. You can't let her go unless she does something really bad.
And he's like, your dream is going to be gone. It's going to go up in a vapor. Adios.
Oops.
So I don't know if... I don't know what's going to happen because we saw in a recent episode that she was totally psycho.
Right.
And
she was outside looking in on the engagement party.
Oh, yeah.
Crying, and then cue the creepy music.
Yeah.
So we know that something is in the works. And
something's in the works.
We're going to see that manifest soon.
That's right. And it's very interesting because they both have someone trying to move in on their relationship, whether it be Delilah or Dr. Bickman's Dr. Bickman.
Dr. Bickman, yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Well, so do we need to get into a little bit of news tonight?
Sure. Let's do some news and gossip.
TV News.
So I'm following Amy Holden Jones, who is the show creator of Black Box, and she has the best tweets. So if you guys want to follow anyone related to Black Box, I recommend you following her because she's got some great behind-the-scenes tidbits. I found out that tonight's episode was supposed to air last week, but it turns out that the special effects for Delilah took a little bit longer than they expected, which is why this episode was aired this week. So something to keep in mind.
Okay, special effects for Delilah.
No, Beatrice.
Beatrice. Oh, yes.
Who was the patient that had the visual hallucinations.
Because the imagery was so lovely and beautiful. I totally love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is really good to know. And I did say that I would share something that I have in common with Kelly Riley.
Do tell us.
Okay, well, I did star in a faith-based film also this year. And so I am very excited about that. I got to be in the editing bay recently. Totally an amazing process. And I'm just really thrilled about it. Kevin Sorbo's in it, Jeremy London.
Very cool.
And just a bunch of other cool cats. And
where can we watch it?
So to speak. So it is it's in post-production right now, and hopefully it will come out in a theater near you soon, and also on DVD.
Awesome! I'm gonna be watching it. That's for sure.
Thank you. So I'm having to study Kelly Riley, because it's just so brave, these actresses, the way that they, process and layer, and I can't stand it.
It's a complex role to play. So props to Kelly.
Yes, absolutely.
Playing it so well.
Okay, and so are we ready to move then into predictions?
Yes. I'll let you go first.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
Wheels
your
are still turning
AfterBuzz
right now.
TV predictions.
All right. Well, I am predicting that we're going to see more dance episodes coming up
Yay.
because Dr. Catherine Black is not done with her bipolar episodes. She's got the manic depression that she deals with. This is heavy duty. This is a real life situation that takes her back to the psychiatrist. We're gonna really get into more of that, I feel like, in the weeks ahead. And I'm really interested to see what else that they can do because we've seen her fly off a balcony. Not completely off, but it kind of looked like that for a minute. I'm just reflecting back. And so, you know, she's had some pretty far out experiences at sort of dangerous situations. And then also, I want to see her maybe at another speaking engagement because she is a famous neuroscientist. I want to see her interacting more on that level of sort of excellence nationwide with her book or something of that nature. How about you, Teresa?
Cool. Well, next week is episode 7, right? Am I correct, or is it 6?
Number 7 is coming up next week.
So 7, I think that's about when the show does, you know, kind of just goes all out, you know, and there's a turning point in the show. And I mean, we saw the preview, and I'm sure, you know, some of you guys did too. And it sounds like there's a lot of craziness that happens next week with a blackout and having to complete surgery in the dark. So we're going to see that, and that seems really exciting to me. But beyond that, I think, you know, we may see Delilah come in and actually try to ruin Will. She's already talked to the manager guy or the higher up, and I think that she's just going to take it to another level, maybe even go into the cube and stir up trouble there directly with Catherine. I think something will happen with Esme. I think she may find out some secrets. You know, it's about time she
you're
starts
right.
to learn who Catherine really is. And I think that just this episode is setting it up for that, with the father, the grandfather coming back into the picture.
Ooh, that sounds really good. I'm getting excited about that. Well, let me just say that, there's a lot going on. There's just a lot going on that I'm excited about. Of course, you never know what kind of case studies they're going to do. It's hard to predict what kind of case studies we're going to be seeing. But so there's no episodes for 3 weeks. Do I have that right?
I saw that. Yeah.
Okay.
No episodes for 3 weeks. The show is returning on June 19th. So
Okay, so if you haven't been watching the show, then this is a perfect time to get in, watch the episodes, watch the after shows, and then come on in about 3 weeks and just get all caught up. And then, or if there's an episode you've missed, go back and watch it, and then join us for the after show.
And let us know your predictions. We want to hear them.
Yeah, we totally do. And actually, I think I would like to give our Twitter addresses. Teresa, can you tell people how to reach you?
You can find me on Twitter at Teresa Law and on Instagram at Teresa Law.
Very good. And I'm Mindy Thomas. You can find me at Mindy Charlotte on Twitter. And I'm just loving the whole social media thing. This is really getting us connected with the fans. So we'd love for you to connect with us and let us know your thoughts, your feelings, especially about tonight's episode. I want to hear from you. So stay in touch and have a great week. And we can't wait to see you again in 3 weeks for Black Box.
Thank you, everyone.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
For watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.